excited for today's episode on Not My Show. So I'm actually going to get interviewed, but we're breaking some new boundaries and milestones here at the EA. What's that say in the background? EA TV newsroom. It's EA Studios. That's what I call it. Whatever. Someone needs to change that. They're getting fired. But I'm going to turn this over to Dan McPherson. I'm excited to get interviewed and be on his show. You should check him out. And I'd say I'm going to bring him up in a second, but he's going to bring me up. So I don't know what I should even put here. I'm just going to switch it over. Let's do this in the power and the magic of video in 3, 2, 1. Shazam!
Boom. Hey, Mario.
Hey, Dan. How's it going?
It is fantastic. I'm looking forward to getting to do this live with everybody. We are going to take our little recording of an interview for the Dreams Are Real podcast. And I'm excited that you're going to join us. Are we ready to get started?
It's been live this whole time.
I know it is. All right. So let's do our thing. Welcome to the Dreams Are Real podcast. I'm your host, Dan McPherson, and today I have with me a man among men and a leader of many, a marketing expert, a client acquisition strategist, the founder and CEO of IWD Now Marketing and Publishing, and the host of EAinterviews.com. He is a gentleman that I have followed now for maybe a couple of years. We've connected and chatted, and I'm excited to get to learn and hear more about your story. Welcome, Mario.
Dan, it's a great day to be alive. I'm excited to share with your audience, and I believe dreams are real. It's so interesting we're doing this today because just last night I had an idea and thought about what everyone is doing in their life and how, people need to dream more, including myself. We're at a young age, we're told we can do anything, and then we try to pursue that in our teens and maybe 20s, and everyone's like, you got to be realistic. And it's like, when did that change? So I'm excited to share with your audience, and I love being around dreamers.
I do as well. And I agree that we need to dream more. I think we also need to dream bigger. Most people underestimate what they could accomplish and shoot so low that they end up not creating the spark in the world that I would say that they are meant to. That does not necessarily apply to you, though. I know you have big dreams. You've done a lot of things. I listed a few of them a moment ago. When people ask you, what do you do? How do you respond?
I like to say help people. I help entrepreneurs get more profit for their company.
And how do you do that?
There are so many people that they just look at every little bell and whistle. And one of my favorite things to do with my personal trainings is just grab a sheet of paper and a pencil and go, tell me what your problems are, make some bullet points, and then look out and go, all right, where do you want to be next year this time? And it's like, I want to be here. And it's like, okay, cool. How long do you think it'll take you to get there? Because even if you're good at figuring out the profit margins and where you want to be in the client acquisition, how much does that cost? What does it take to get there? So many people don't look at the time to that point of, they overestimate what they can do in 1 year and underestimate what they can do in 5. It's like most people don't assign time because they think it's infinite, and it's not. It's the one thing you can't get back. You can always make more money. So it's interesting. Let's say it's publish a book or, create a show or something. They're like, oh, it's going to take like 12 or 24 months. It's like, no, it won't. And especially for business, why would you want to take that long? I'm always looking for the shortest path possible. So when I take them through my profitability matrix, it's like, no matter if you're paying for something or not, how much time is it costing you? Assign a dollar value to that, and it's an eye-opener because so many people are just overestimating one thing and underestimating the rest, and nothing is on track. And whether you have a show or not, or you're looking for more clients or not, what is a lead cost? How long does it take to go through your service or your program? Oh, if it's project-based, they just look at it and go, oh, it's done when it's done. Well, is that 2 months or 20? Because I don't care if you got 5, 10, 20, 50, $100,000 for it. There's a big difference with your profitability if it took 20 months versus 2. Would you agree?
Absolutely. It's one of the things that I talk with people about is that the importance not only of goals but of defining them and measuring them, and it can be what gets measured gets done, and an understanding that we're bad estimators, but it is also the idea that we have to crystallize this and make these conscious decisions of where to place our focus and attention, and as you say, how to spend your time to determine whether something is worth it and gets us where we want to go. And as you've been helping people do that, is this more from a marketing perspective? Is it pretty broad based, dealing with time and profit and all that, or is it narrow?
I like to keep it pretty narrow, even though I do incorporate different aspects of it because a lot of people just focus on sales or client acquisition and they forget the marketing or they forget that there's a team behind it. There's a big difference from you're selling a lot to you actually have a company where people are happy too. So I like to weave in what I've learned with people skills and psychology, and and we can't deny I like the marketing. I mean, at the core, marketing promotion, it's a creative medium, even though I've recently realized again, like back in high school, there's the creatives who don't necessarily see themselves as the entrepreneur, and even the entrepreneurs, do you see yourself as the CEO? And there's a lot to do with identity in there, and I believe there's an aspect of all of it that we all have, and some people shy away from one, and too often the entrepreneur that might or might not be a creative, they don't focus on the sales. So ultimately, I like to help people get results. I don't pigeonhole it to, well, this is a creative thing and we're only focusing on this or that. I go, tell me about you. Because the beauty of a business and being the CEO and the entrepreneur, you can do whatever you want. And that's awesome. So maybe you grew up one way thinking all you're good at is A, B, and C, but the business needs X, Y, and Z also. And maybe you really enjoyed it, you just never really did it. Maybe you can branch that. Maybe you thought you were good at A, B, and C, and maybe you're really killer at C, and A and B are kind of a weak point. So maybe you give that to someone else and you focus on C and X, and that's your sweet spot. So I also help people find who they really are to uncover where they should be playing, and maybe it's taken a step back. I fired myself straight up from a lot of things, but I've also promoted myself in other areas to go, this is where I should be playing, this is where I excel, and it's easy and effortless. Even though I can do this other thing, this is where I excel and someone else enjoys it more than me and is better than me, but yeah, I know how to do it.
So helping people fill in the gaps, figure out where they excel, and if necessary, find ways to get the other things done. You mentioned you're helping them find their identity. How did you find yours? What were things like as a kid? Where were you from? And how did little Mario turn into big Mario?
We're going to go here, huh? Well, honestly,
We
it
are.
sucked. Straight up. I didn't realize a lot of this. The turning point was in ninth grade. And I just was I didn't like a lot of things. Nothing was really bad, but nothing was really good. It was just kind of there. And I just one day was like, I'm not going through high school the same way I went through middle and what's the other one? The first one, elementary school.
Elementary.
That one. And going through elementary school, I was like straight, I don't know if it was straight A's. I'm not stupid. And I just followed the in the box thing. Middle school, I realized maybe I don't have to. And I was in some advanced classes, but I didn't care. I wanted to have fun. I love having fun. I love people. I love family, friends. And that was what my focus was. And things yeah, I was still in some advanced courses in middle school, but other things were dropping. Is like if I didn't like it and didn't have an interest in it, I didn't even try. So I have like a triple A plus in one class and I'm failing another. There was a giant dichotomy going on, and that's when I was realizing, this is where the strengths come out at. I can do A, B, and C, but I'm exceptional at C. I'm okay at B, and A I know how to do, but I probably shouldn't be doing it if it's a thing. I got picked on a lot. I was the one who got picked on. I always felt like the odd one out, this and that. There was a lot of things about my life I just didn't want to keep going. And I'm like, I'm going to change all this. I'm not going to graduate in 3 years the same way I walked into ninth grade. And I was like, what do I like? What do I want? And I just started changing it little by little. And I mean, I wasn't reading self help books. There was no business structure. I mean, to me, it just comes out down to common sense. When
What
people are
was the
like, I
first
don't,
thing that you changed? Do you remember?
eighth grade band class, I asked my friend Alexa, the trumpets were playing over in the other half of the room, and I was sitting there in class. I play alto sax and piano, and I go, if you could change anything about me, what would it be? And I'll never forget, she goes, you kind of slouch when you walk. Maybe just stand up more. So that week, I just practiced walking straighter. And then I asked something else and another thing and another thing. And it was like people always knew I was nice and funny and cordial, if you will. But it was just like basically confidence. And it's interesting. And now I know psychologically and physiologically, there's things you can do, like putting your hands on your hips, the Duchenne pose, the Superman pose, if you will.
Hmm.
It actually changes your body chemistry. And if you stand up, put your hands on your hips for 2 minutes, it actually releases endorphins and you'll feel happier and more powerful. So no matter how bad of a day you're doing, there's things physiologically now. And it was interesting because when you walk like with more confidence, guess what you have? More confidence. And I'm not going to do a whole training on that kind of stuff, but it was just common sense stuff. I didn't like getting bad grades, so you know what? I tried a little bit more in the classes I cared about. I didn't like, stuff. If I wanted
And
to ask someone out, a girl to a dance or something, it's not fun to get rejected. I tried to curb that, didn't work too well in high school, but I just made a list of all the stuff I didn't like, and I just started looking for ways to change it. There was no self-help class. There's no YouTube. There's no, I mean, now we have access to anything in the world, but I just made a list of what I didn't like and started the process of looking, how might I change this? And it's the same thing now, the same philosophy with the businesses. Hey, what's the biggest problem in your business? Oh, well, I'd like more leads and profit. Okay, cool. There's only 5 or 6 things that ever is, and you just break it down systematically and go through it and fix them.
so you were pretty system focused even that young, and one of the motivators sounds like was that you were getting pretty picked on, bullied maybe. Did that change quickly?
No.
Did they leave you alone?
No, nothing ever changes quickly. I mean, unless it's the channel and you're controlling the remote. But I remember summer of ninth grade, and then it was a little bit better 10th, 11th, and by 12th grade, I was like, this is going to be fun. I started playing more in my zone. And this is from John Maxwell. Great, great man. If you haven't read his books, you should. But he talks about your strengths. And if you are a 5 or a 6 in something, so many people, society, teachers, whatever, if you're a 5 or a 6, everyone makes it sound like you need to be a 10 in all you do. And you don't. You're not going to go from a 4, 5, or 6 to a 10. You can go from an 8 or a 9 to a 10. But especially if you're a 1 or a 2, there's people that spend 10, 20 years trying to fix something they should not be doing, when they really are good at 8 or 9, and they could be a 12 at it. And that's kind of what I was saying. If I'm good, if A, B, and C I can do, and C is where I excel. Too many focus on trying to change everything, and it's like, find your strengths and make those mastery. Make those a mastery skill. And the rest, empower others to help you. So many people want to join you on your journey, but you're trying to take care of everything you're on your own, and they can't use their powers. They're better at it, and they enjoy it more than you. There's stuff I know how to do. I don't like doing it, and I'm not the best, but I know how to do it.
I
So
love the
I find
idea.
people who
Oh,
love it, and they love it as much as I love, well, video and speaking.
I love the idea of leveraging your strengths. We were speaking before we came on also that I'm a refiner, not a creator. Maybe one of the reason that so much of my audience are creatives, musicians and artists and gamers and people like that, and so many of my clients are, is because they possess this skill that I don't, and we naturally join a journey together. I, I agree with you that so much of society tells us to fix our weaknesses and spend so much of our time on that when the biggest wins come from leveraging your strengths. When you were a kid, did you have dreams? Did you look forward and say, I want to do this magical thing in the world?
Of course, I wanted to be a dinosaur.
Nice. What kind?
Oh, what day is it, and what's the task at hand?
You wanted to be a dinosaur that could change into different dinosaurs. I got it.
I mean, and there's a point in that too. I say it not really jokingly; it's the truth. I love dinosaurs, but so many people go, "Well, I'd be a T-Rex because I could do this and that." Yeah, well, try putting something on a shelf. You're going to have a slight problem, and you have to fit what you're doing to what is the best tool to do it. And that's why I love that I can bridge the gap from the personal side of things, but also if you ask me how to design and build a computer, I did the one I'm on right now. So it's like, what are you good at, but also is it appropriate? Everything looks like a nail to a hammer, but not hammering the crap out of everything and everyone in your life is not a smart idea long term unless you're a drill sergeant. And so I don't really love the T-Rex to answer your question, but he has his place. Probably one of the swim dinosaurs, but also the Dilophosaur, the Stegosaurus. There's a few of them, but I always wanted to fly, so Quetzalcoatl or
Nice.
Pterodon.
I swear I
Um,
learned all of those from my son when he was focused on the dinosaur phase.
there's a lot of cool ones.
There are a
I
lot
I
of
I'll
cool
throw this out
dinosaurs.
here too. I want to find Brontosaurus over in Africa somewhere because I think there's a chance they're still there.
Interesting. That'll be an interesting search. Now you have a mission for your vacations. Go hunting for dinosaurs
Not
in
hunting.
Africa.
I'll go play with them and say
Well,
hi,
I
but
meant seeking, so fair enough. Not hunting, seeking. You're gonna go play with them. I don't know how cuddly they'll be though. As you came through this spot where you were making all of these changes in your life, and it sounds like it transformed your mindset as you approach school. Was that when you got started as an entrepreneur, or did that come later?
what age would I have been? I started my first company at 12. I don't know what grade that is, but I feel like I started it in middle, no, 5th and 6th grade.
And what was the first company? We have to know this story.
I sold dinosaurs.
I was waiting for that. That was a nice setup.
No, I started I called it Mario's Miracle Maintenance. I didn't know jack about copywriting back then, but if that's not an alliteration and I just thought it fit, I mean, like I said, some of this is just common sense to me. But Mario's Miracle Maintenance, and it was landscaping, power washing, painting, basically anything I could legally, ethically, and morally do at 12. Why not? And I remember I said, I'm expanding the company when I got my first car, and I bought a chain. And then I added shrub removal.
You
Some
bought a
in it,
chain and added shrub removal. That's a nice way to add another stream of income.
and but the basis of it is the same as now. It's like, what are your strengths? What can you do? What can be profitable? And when I was cutting the lawns, there's a lot of people digging up. I'm always thinking leverage, efficiency. That's
Mhm.
the analytical side of me. And I would just see I mean, one of the longest customers I had driving home from church, I saw him struggling to cut the lawn. I pulled in his driveway and said, "Doesn't look like you're having too much fun. You'd probably rather be on the boat." And I pointed to his boat in the backyard. Benefit. Headline, attention grabber. And then
So
guess what?
marketing, even as a teenager, you're on it.
And he goes, "No, not really." And yes, I would be. I go, "Why don't you go pack a cooler? I'll be back in 20 minutes after I change."
Mm.
assuming the close, and I had to call the action. He goes, "How much?" I go, $20. I had him for like 3 or 4 years. There was
So
no
many.
drip funnel. There was no live stream. There was no, I mean, all you have to do is find people you can help, let them know you can help, ask them if they'd like help, and then make up a price.
What gave you the confidence and even the audacity and knowledge to step out and just do that?
Life's more fun with money. You can give it away and help people and buy food and clothing, and what's the downside? He says no, so what? I go home and have an awesome day either way.
I get that, but most people, that's not how they think or feel, which fair enough, you're doing what most people won't. Is there a spot where that changed for you, or did you feel that way from a super young age? Obviously, at 12, you felt that way. How about before that?
I'm literally biting my tongue and not going off into Comedy Central mode because I could say a lot about most people.
Yeah,
I
fair
think
enough.
most people need to dream and give themselves some more credit. God gave us the seeds of greatness, and it's all underutilized. So to stay on point, it's just you want to change something, change it.
Fair
I
enough.
just saw someone in need. I don't like seeing people suffer. That was one way I could help. I'd say it was a B thing. I wasn't exceptional at it, but I could do it. As the business grew, I go, I don't really even like doing this. But I didn't mind 25, 35 an hour in high school cash. So I go,
Mhm.
you know what? If I get more people to help me, this actually came from when I got my Wave Runner and paid cash for it and wanted to spend more time on that. I go, I still got to do this work. I go, I don't really want to spend 6 hours doing it all. And my friend was like, when are we going on the Wave Runner? I go, I tell you what, you help me with these. Not only will I pay you, we can go 3 hours earlier. And that was the first time I hired someone, and I was like, oh my gosh, I wonder how many other of my friends would like to make money in high school and get paid cash. So then
So
it turned into I got more people helping me, and I just basically entertained the customer. Talk to them for 10 minutes while one's weed whipping and one's cutting the lawn and everything. And then I was like, I can infinitely scale this. Again, no training, no books, no nothing. It was common sense. If I'm doing it on my own, like most entrepreneurs are, you kill yourself in the process and have less fun. The thing for me was if it cut into my fun time, I didn't like it. I'm willing to do the work. I'm always looking for the most efficient way to do it. So if we can do it in 1 hour versus 10, you better believe I'm going to find the way, find the people, or create a way.
creating efficiencies is a big win. You had this business with employees in high school,
I
taking
wouldn't go all there. It was my friends, and we wanted to go on the lake. We needed to speed up time.
you had some partying friends in high school who helped you run this business, who helped you get the work done for this business. What happened? What became of Mario's Miracle Maintenance Service?
Oh shoot! I remember the business cards I printed on the printer on normal paper. I actually sold it to start this one.
So when was that?
I was 18.
So at 18 years old, you've had that business for 6 years.
No,
What
I'm sorry. Let me correct myself. I started it at 12. I may have been 19. It was the fall. Let's say 19, maybe 20, because I was in college, and I remember that. So maybe it was the fall semester or the next year in college. I feel like I would have been 19 spring, because I had cut 1 or 2 or 3 lawns, and I'm like, no, I'm done. Because I already had this one.
you said enough of that. And
The one thing I didn't like was the weather. I couldn't control that. It's very inefficient. And what had happened is a good problem, first world problem. I got so many accounts, I needed people to help me, and then you get 1 day of rain, 1 day of inefficient, and it threw off the rest of the time, and it took more time to cut. It was never as good because it was still damp, and if you didn't do it that week, it was horrible the next, plus you lost it was like this 5 times problem when I'm looking for the 5 times leverage. It was the exact opposite of what I was going for, Moreover, when I look, I'm always looking down the road. I was like, when I'm 35, 40, 45, 50 with a wife, kids, family, I don't want to be going, sorry, we can't go on the boat or whatever or go to Disney because it's raining and now I have to be 4 days behind schedule.
Hmm.
So I'm very thankful. I have some clients that are great big lawn care. I realized in high school when I started this, I go, I'm going to have an expensive hobby or a very profitable business. I knew I wasn't going to stop though.
You
That's what I
knew
took out of it, and that's
you
when I
knew
go,
you
you
weren't
know
going to
what?
stop. The
I wasn't going to
inefficiencies of
stop.
Mother Nature were not going to get in your way. What caused you to take a step forward and move from what you were doing, lawn care, which maybe wasn't your love, but running business and having money was pretty good, to saying I'm going to go do a marketing and publishing company?
So at my core, I like to have fun with people, as in band, choir, drama, play alto and piano and tenor sax, and at the core, I like having fun. My first company afforded me the money and really the time too to do what I wanted. I wanted to keep that aspect, but I wanted to be more in control of my time and have a business that works for me. Because that I still feel like was solopreneur or a small self employed business. There wasn't a lot of, I mean, even on a big scale, let's say there was hundreds of accounts, trucks, mowers, and everything. You have a lot of variables that are hard, I would say, harder to scale, or maybe I didn't want to. You know what I mean?
Right.
So I wanted to, and it wasn't as creative. I mean, walking in a straight line, you don't need to be a rocket scientist to do. I wanted something where I could unleash my creativity and have fun all the time and still get paid for it.
And this gave you a conduit into that. When you started the company, that your new company, which was now, I guess, quite some time ago, what was your vision? What was your dream for it at that point? Was it just to find those efficiencies and have money make for have systems making you money, or was it more than that?
You said something that triggered a memory for me. I'm thinking of the year I started this and I go, oh my gosh, has it been that long? Um, I just wanted something that I could do, 24/7. Not that I wanted to work 24/7, but again, the weather, if we're having fun through the week and I go, I mean, no matter what, even if the weather was great, I was working Thursday, Friday, Saturday because everyone wanted this stuff done when they're having fun and having people over. Same thing as people that work in hospitality. You're working when everyone is having fun. This does not work for me. I want to
Not
be
for
the
you
one
when
having
fun's a
fun.
priority.
And there's a lot more I saw. I don't want to make it sound like I envisioned the future because ultimately I just wanted something I could control, unleash my creativity, help people, and profit from. I mean, I was in high school.
Sure. Those are pretty
I wasn't like,
solid
I knew
goals.
that apps were going to be huge and the iPhone was coming out 5 years later, anything. But I had the foresight enough to go, internet's getting faster. There's more people doing stuff on computers, whatever. Photography and videography aren't going anywhere. And so here's a twist. I wanted to be an FBI, CIA, lawyer, doctor, attorney, just wanted to help people. However, my original goal was to go to law school, get my law degree, and then go back and start a movie production company when I was 25. And I remember crying in the parking lot at college going, I don't like what I'm doing. I don't really care. It just sounds good and it gets everyone off my back. I really want to make movies. So I took the timeline and the plan I had, because I had a plan at 18 until I was 30. I just sped it up. So I was like, all right, stop going to school and move this forward. And I was about to stop going to college. And I go, I wonder if they have anything in the movie department or anything closely related. And I took an acting class. And that is actually a fun turning point because Mr. Scholar over here was taking summer classes. And we were doing stuff on stage, and they go, we're gonna what did we do? We were doing stuff on stage, and then we went into the recording studio so we could see. They filmed us on stage, and then we went to the recording studio, and the whole room was green, and it had broadcast cameras and buttons, and I was like, what is this little hidden gem? And it turned out to be the media, what is it, MECA, Multimedia Arts and Communication Arts. And there was a whole program for it. So I spent the next 4 years diving into 128 credits worth of all this.
Of all living your dream of video and movies. That's pretty fantastic skill set to gain, certainly applicable to your business. What, and you were running a business while you were doing that, right? Because we would never want to be
I
bored.
had paying clients. There was one point when I told the professors, I only got time to do one of these projects. I can't be doing homework and the client work simultaneously. What do you say I get credit for this because it's the same stuff? And he kind of knew that I wasn't going to be doing it was, they were paying me to do work, like real work, and I didn't have time for both. It was the same work, that was true, and he kind of knew I wasn't going to be turning in the homework, so some of the stuff I was able to double dip and get credit for.
So you got paid
great.
And got college credit for it? That's pretty solid.
And I'll take it a step further, because all the other people, like you, I love sales and helping people. I truly believe you can't actually help someone until you close the sale, because they're just in should I not mode, and they need to stop shooting on themselves. Once they commit and go, let's move forward, now they're receptive. It's not that you can't help them before. They're not in a place where they're receptive. If they don't pay attention. So I always had clients no matter what I was doing, and all the other people in class, most of them better than me, were like, we're so sick of working on homework projects. They had some of the best portfolios, but it was all classwork. They couldn't close or sell. So I was like, how much do you want? And they were all saying 10 to 12 an hour. I go, great. I started everyone at 15. So I actually hired a lot of my classmates to be doing this stuff because, again, if I'm working on it, that's less time I'm selling. So I just kept bringing them work. They were doing it, and it worked out. I got to learn and then apply it the next day. There was many times I would learn something on Monday and Wednesday class, close a deal on Tuesday and Thursday. There was times I'd step out of class into the hallway to close a deal, come back, and then go ask the teacher a question.
Looks like the same entrepreneurial journey in college in some ways as it was in high school. There you are, your peers are looking for some money, you're looking for some fun and freedom. Combine the two and make magic happen. As you've grown as an entrepreneur, has running a company been different than you thought it would be?
When you get past the point where you're just playing business and actually going, all right, am I doing something today that will be beneficial 2 years, 5 years, 10 years? You have to look at it through a different lens. You have to have vision. And Helen Keller, one of my favorite quotes, Helen Keller, for anyone who doesn't know her, you should look her up. She couldn't see and she couldn't hear. And she says, the only thing worse than not being able to read, no, there's the only thing worse than not being able to see is having sight and no vision. And I found that very powerful because most people have everything going for them and they have no vision. So I was always aiming down the road and always going, what can I do today that the Mario of next year is going to thank me for? And it's surreal because right now, in this moment, with this setup, talking to you was what I planned out last year. And I've been piecing together over the last year, and it's a fun place to be in now. But I also am aiming down the road. So even recently with my team, I go, I have to make sure everything's on track so that way I can keep sending episodes for them. So 2 years, 3 years, 4 years, we have stuff. And I think too many people don't think down the road. And I'm going to speak specifically for businesses and entrepreneurs. they cannibalize what they're doing. They can. There a lot of people are the fast start, the quick start, but like one of my favorite rap artists says, Ice Cube, life ain't a track meet, it's a marathon. And it's very, very true. It's very true. If you're not doing something today that assures you're around 5 years from now, you probably won't be. And a lot of that deals with the profit margins and what you're working on and where you're investing your time. So yeah, it's changed quite a bit, because before it was like all I have to do is cut these 8, 10, 12, 15, 20 lawns and I'm good. I wasn't planning 10 years down the line. I wasn't trying to acquire more customers. I mean, it just happened. If I saw someone cutting their lawn, I'd just walk up to them. There was a few days I'm going to do some marketing, so I took the Gateway G6 266 and probably a Hewlett-Packard printer and ran off 20 different things and flyered, local people. The other thing was use what you have at your disposal. And there's a good probably couple dozen people that could. One of my people I know now, he remembers me. He goes, he was the only kid in the neighborhood walking down the street pushing his mower. I also got smart and rode it because it was self-propelled. It wasn't a sit behind, but I would turn it on, get on my bike, and let it do the work for me. It also got a lot of attention because you saw me consistently going up and down the street, and people would see me. Sometimes people walked up to me, which I recommend, and if not, just walk up to them. It's not rocket science. Dad always said, if you want to make more money, if you need more money, make more money. All you got to do is serve someone, name a price, and ask them if they want help. If they don't, there's 29.4 or 29.6 businesses in the world you can help. And if we're talking consumer market, business to consumer, not B2B, holy smokes, what's the tally up to? 7, 8 billion people now? And you can reach them globally with the internet? Like, there's no reason anyone can't be doing what they want. It's just choice.
There's an opportunity to follow passion. One of the things that I share with clients is that creativity and being able to serve people are not exclusive of being able to make money. In fact, if you serve people and you do it strategically, money is the natural outflow of doing that. That's one of the key lessons, I think, of connecting the dots for many creatives that I work with, and for many entrepreneurs who haven't made that jump to mentally to being a CEO yet. As you look forward to the next 10 years, you say you're looking 10 years ahead. What do you envision? You've started EA interviews. You have 100 and some interviews done in 10 months. So I guess give a quick little button about what EA interviews is, and then what do you envision 10 years from now?
God gave me this vision last year, and I'm very thankful. I'll be doing this for a while, and my goal with the show is to exponentially elevate the identity of humanity, because too many people have got picked on. We're the outcast, we're the whatever, and I still don't think enough people realize how special they are, and God made them with the seeds of greatness, no matter what they're going through. We had a speaker at church, and he came in, and I would love to have him on the show. And there was a promo video, and it said thug. And when I say that, it's people listening will think of words. What do you think of when I say thug? Whatever came to mind, that's what you're thinking of. And I saw troubled human unable to grieve. And that was me.
Mm.
What was my outlet? What's your outlet? What are you doing with it? I channeled it for good, and at my core, FBI, CIA, cop, lawyer, I've always wanted to help people because I know what I went through, and now I'm actually changing my position slightly. I would never want people getting hurt and abused, but I have no doubt I went through some of the things I did, so I knew how to help now. It's not just about the profit and money and acquisition and all that. It's required for to have a successful business, but at the core, it's how are you helping, how are you serving, how are you adding value. You can't truly do that unless you know who you are. There's a lot of people playing in the whole A B. I'm good at A, B, and C, so they focus on A. It's like you're a 4. Do something different. And those are some of the biggest breakthroughs and transformations. And when I got the vision with band, choir, drama, on stage, modeling, acting, in front of the camera, behind the camera, building the, in front of, I'd say in front of the computer, behind the computer, building the computer, I looked back and there was decades of stuff prepping me for the point of when I started this. And it made me reevaluate when I lost Dad. The importance of time, I was always focused on it, but there is nothing. I can't do 1,000 episodes and get him back. There's nothing I can do to change that right now. I'll see him again, but I have to wait a little bit longer. And I go, why am I here? What am I doing? And I didn't care about anything. And I go, all right, I'm 35. What am I going to do for the next 100 years? Because this sucks. Straight up. I kind of felt like that scared kid in middle and high school. What am I going to do now? And I realized I've done books. I've done speaking. I've helped a lot of people, and they were all in my phone. And I sat on the couch and I go, oh my gosh. Because 6 to 8 years ago, I had been telling people, I'm working with clients, and I always wanted to start a show to bring back the good moral values to America and the world that we've lost track of. And I would do videos and say positive stuff, and a lot of people think I'm a motivational speaker, even though I've never billed myself as that. And I just go, it just was like clear as day. I go, now's the time. So I started. Same way I did when I was 12. I had no clue what I was doing. I have the webcam behind the monitor here, the old one I started with. Not this mic, not that camera, not anything, save for the lights. I've had those since 2012. If you think investing is a good thing, and if you think this looks good, they're the lights I bought May of 2012 when, again, I started doing more. And I go, this is something I can do. It's going to change, but this is something I can do for the next 5, 10, 15, 20, 30 years. I'm at stage 4. There is a stage 5 where I'll bring great people into the studio, but there's also bottlenecks with that, and I've looked at the inefficiencies, and there's reasons I'm doing everything in the order I'm doing it, because at every level there's levels. And my goal is to connect the world and give everyone that deserves it a platform that they can tell their story and people can be inspired, so we can exponentially elevate the identity of humanity, because I'm sick of all the news. I'm sick of all the negative stuff. There's a lot of good out there, and most people don't know about it. And it thrills me that everyone has the ability to live stream. There's more entrepreneurs rising up. Some people don't want to have a multi-million-dollar conglomeration and multiple businesses. And, I know that not everyone is even striving for that, and that's good. I'm just glad there's more people pursuing their passion and able to monetize it. Don't struggle. You can monetize it. There's nothing wrong with it. Capitalism is great. But there's people that are living them true selves and are closer to it instead of just doing something for money, passionless. And that's what the world needs, is more people that are pursuing their passion and come alive than just going through the motions.
So out of an inspiration from your father, an internal drive to do something that matters, to change the moral fabric, comes expert authority interviews where you're bringing people with a vision and a plan and moving forward to make change in the world. It's a very, very powerful movement. And I love the strategic build towards your goals. As you think about all the things that you've done, and you've done a lot, especially for as young as you are. But when you start being an entrepreneur at 12 years old, you've done a lot of things. What would you say is maybe the biggest lesson that you've learned along the way?
Enjoy the journey and give yourself a break. We beat ourselves up too much. You can't get the time back. And there's always something you're striving for. This moment is what I was striving for last year, and now I have other stuff I'm striving for and will achieve. But you have to enjoy it. Otherwise, you're mentally in this state of, well, I don't have time. I can't enjoy it. I have to be working on this to get to that next point so I can enjoy it. But it's the cyclical problem of, one of my favorite quotes is stop the glorification of busy. And I'm not saying don't put in the hard work and make the investment and take the time away from, you can't just lounge around 24 hours a day, but you do have to put in the short burst, but also enjoy it. If you're just constantly, if you're mentally not present, everyone around you is going to see it. And it doesn't make you a bad person, but at the end of the day, no matter how many people I help, no matter what tech is involved, no matter this, that, the other thing, you're not going to look back in your life. No, I didn't mean to say the people I've helped. They'll care. What I meant to say is the money you make. You're not going to be looking back and going, wow, I shrugged 37.6 seconds off the upload time. You're going to look back and go, wow, I remember every single person and every single thing. And I have no doubt in my mind they can come with you.
I feel
It's
the
not
emotion.
finite.
I feel the emotion as you talk about helping others, as you talk about your father. I lost my mother at an early age, and it was hard for me. And in earlier this year, I was fortunate as I traveled and spoke to be able to honor her as part of what I was doing for all that she had given me. And it sounds, in if I'm hearing correctly, that part of what you're doing is honoring that relationship as well.
I'm sorry for your loss as well. I never wish it on anyone, but I also realize none of us are getting out of here alive. And I do know that there is life after this, and we are going to be remembering what we're doing here. And when you think about that, it's not like, Men in Black where you get the wipe your mind thing and none of this just goes away. It's like, what are you doing, not just in this life, but for the next one to go, what am I doing now that's going to make a difference 5 years, 10 years, 100 years, 200 years? Even if we're just talking about the world, there's generational wealth you can pass on and leaving a legacy. You know, Another thing is people are going to constantly be out there putting your name down. Do you, what is your track record? If you did one good video or one Facebook post or LinkedIn post, if you were in, again, the lawyer in me, if you were on the trial of your life, how much evidence is stacked up in your favor to go, this is ridiculous, let's throw the case out? Or would it be the defense going, they're making some good points here. This guy really is a creep. He really didn't, what's your track record? Because even, I hope to God you never have to deal with that with court in the first place, but that's what people are doing in their mind. What's the impression? What's the influence you're leaving on them? And again, I thought back to all the stuff. Dad had a business, and I got to find that picture. There's a picture of him kneeling down in a pair of dress shoes to be at my height, and I was the one standing up with the briefcase and suit. Gotta find that picture. And he always had a business, and I could see the time he had for us and for family. And there were times that there was thousands of dollars coming in. I'd answer the phone. It's more clients. Everyone loved them. And I'd give him the phone. He goes, yeah, I'm not going to be able to do this for a couple of weeks. I'm pretty booked up. I was like, Dad, that's like, 450 here. And, he had a marine survey boat, a business, 350 here, 450 here. He's getting all these calls. I'm like, you're not going to do that? He goes, I go, what are you booked up? I just looked at the calendar. And he said, well, I'm taking you and your mom to dinner here. We're going to the beach here. We're going on the boat this weekend. And it just really stuck out because most people, they're skipping the holidays and they're skipping the family time to get what? Time and a half, double time, triple time. And I get if that's where someone is, I don't want to belittle what anyone's doing. Because I've been in those positions where it's like, I don't really want to do this, but if I don't, it's going to be worse. But I just want to let everyone know you can't get the time back. There's only one birthday in 2002 you get. There's only one in 2006, 2012, 2016, 2018, 2020. Whenever you're listening to this in 2030, you only get that one that year. Oh, there's others. But the attitude in that one, how you do anything is how you do everything. So if your attitude is, oh, there's others, every year there's others, and after 5 or 10 years, you did 1 out of 10. But you made an extra. Anyone doing that is not making extra millions of dollars. And I just say, do what you need to, but also be aware that there's patterns. And if you miss them for a decade and you wonder why your kids don't like you, or your wife, or your husband, or your whatever, that's what's scary to me. Because money is nowhere near as important as family. So find more efficient ways to do it so you can have the fun. And yes, a lot of this, I said I wasn't going to reach. You heard me say I wasn't going to pick anything like the water up because it doesn't make for good video, but I did a tribute book to Dad. Again, I took what I had. I know how to do publishing. I've done it for hundreds of people. And I did do a tribute book for him because he also, for 25 plus years, he wrote a column in a magazine. Great Lakes Scuttlebutt. Shout out to Eric. He's awesome. Mom and I even went down to the headquarters and found the archives and spent the day scanning them all in so I could dissect them and make the book because he had written for 25 years, and it's interesting. A lot of the similarities, there was no internet marketing or this, that, the other thing, but the way it was structured, give good value. Here's some tips you should have. Here's some benefits free of charge. By the way, if you need my services, here's the number. It works like a charm. I love doing it with people with publishing now, and he had been doing it, and it didn't even, I broke down in tears going, this is what I teach people. He just always added value, and always, he is a great man. And no matter if someone was sad, he could cheer them up. Just take a look at the people in your life because they're not going to be there forever.
Well, for what it's worth, I think you honor him very well. And what I know of you is you cheer people up. You certainly have taken his legacy and pushed it on further. And it feels like a good time to transition to just asking you, what does it mean to you when I say dreams are real? What does that phrase mean to you?
I think it was Disney who said, all dreams are real if you have the courage to believe they're possible or go after them, something like that. And it really is true. God gave us the seeds of greatness. And, Napoleon Hill, any adversity comes with a seed of equal and opposite benefit. And we're actually a benefit of that right now, to be honest with you, because when I queued this up, there's something I did with the setup that I was having an issue with yesterday because of configuration, whatever. And this is actually going out to more places today than it ever has for the last 10 months. So, but yeah, I was a little irritated with it not working after the live cast yesterday. Dreams are real. Stuff will happen along the way. Don't try to do it perfect, but just make a plan. And I could show you the Aqua notes that I have. I could show you a lot of stuff that I wrote down. Disney has always been an inspiration. And when I started my company, I was scared out of my mind. There's one thing around walking around the neighborhood and, you know, it's another thing to be on the world stage and going, I want to make a dent in this. And just go after it. You're going to fail. Inspiring, huh? Go after it. You're going to fail. It's your choice if you get back up and learn from it and succeed. I tried to
Failure is
do
okay,
everything
and it's the
perfect.
price of success, right?
I tried to do everything perfect, and that efficiency. Well, failure's an inefficiency. It doesn't add up. It lowers the scores. I treat a lot of stuff just like it's a video game. Like what's the score? You can pretty much add metrics to any area you want, rank them all up, average them out. Merry Christmas. You either did good or bad. But the failures are what get you to the point to go, is it, it reconfirms. Did I say I'm going to commit, or did I actually commit? This sucks right now, but I'm going to keep going because I did commit. And I'm not doing this for me because I don't care. I'm going to go get some Cheetos and ice cream. I'm going to have a good night. But there's 1,000 people in 10,000 and 100,000 that don't have my 5, 10, 20 years experience, that in 60 seconds I can say one thing that's going to save them a month with their life, and maybe, just maybe, they get the time back and they're spending time with their family and going, I don't need to struggle anymore. I just need to find good sources of information.
Related to that, I think it bridges nicely off of it. As we've talked about, you've had success in a number of areas: marketing, publishing, lawn care. Who knew? What does it mean? How do you feel when others use you as an example that dreams are real?
Responsibility. There's a lot of stuff I'm aiming for, and sometimes you have to stop and look back and go, you know what? I am like a 18 out of 10 in this area. But it's nothing because I'm special. God gave me this ability. It's all Him. And if I can help someone, I'm going to. And if I can't, I'm not going to act like I'm an 18 in that area out of ego. I even have it in one of my books. I go, if you're asking me to dig a ditch, I'm not going to sit there with a shovel all day and do it. So you can start now, and I might disappear for an hour, maybe 2. But I'll come back with a team of people, and we'll be done by hour 3 instead of wait until 6 p.m. because that's cutting into hot tub and boat time and fun time.
We don't want to cut into fun time. Speaking of fun, that brings us to our Fortunate 5, the 5 questions that we ask everyone about ways in which we either have been fortunate or might be, or even in which the world can be. What is the most exciting or adventurous thing that you've ever done?
There's a lot. The first thing that really came to mind was band, marching with the band in high school. Middle
At a
school,
particular
high
event
school.
or?
Well, so many people, I'm just going to use the analogy. So many people sit on the sidelines of life and never get onto the field. And you don't need to be on the football team to be on the field. And heck, even some football teams shouldn't be on the field. They should be on the sideline. But it just gave me, from an early age, is there anything else? Speaking on stage, publishing a book, that's another turning point. These are things that really stood out. Also, just in school, one of the reasons I've always liked helping people, but there was a lot of people coming to me even in middle school and high school just asking for advice on whatever. Like I just would consult and help people. And it was, I wasn't charging for it or had an hourly rate or, come to office hours or whatever formality, you do now. But it was just that servant's heart of going, I can help, I'm going to, and people appreciate it. And I could see, again, results-based. If you're not seeing the results, don't keep doing it. Stop, find a different way. But one of the things early on was, well, soccer in whatever grade, 4th, 5th, and 5th school, elementary, is that it?
Sounds like you've got lots of adventurous things all
Anytime you
throughout.
can put yourself in a different position where you're not part of the sidelines or the masses or anything. When you get onto the field, and even if you go, well, I'm not 12 right now. Well, good. All you have to do is choose to elevate what you're doing and how you see it. When you change that position, there hasn't been an award show, fashion show, sporting event, concert where I don't go, I actually should be on the stage right now. It's kind of irritating me. I'm just sitting here watching this.
For me, it was starting martial arts at the age of 40. Stepping out there was pretty adventurous, and getting into that physical performance in front of everyone, it was a pretty scary place. What is something that you wish you were good at but aren't yet?
I've improved the dancing. I did band choir and drama. I never took formal dance lessons, so let's throw that in there. I've improved, but dancing? Like actual knowing what to do. Like all the waltz, the tango, I've taken some classes with. I've always wanted to learn ballroom,
Right.
um, and scuba diving.
Nice. Scuba diving and dancing. Two things that I have zero skill at. So you're already ahead of me and continue to get better. What's the best meal or food experience that you've ever had?
I realize I mentioned Cheetos and ice cream earlier. That kind of just came out, but whatever.
That's all right.
There's been some good restaurants. I'm thinking of, they're all high-end restaurants. One is the club where I had my VIP book launch party. That was a great, memorable meal. One of my clients took me out recently, helping. One of my clients took me out after helping his son, who was also a client, publish his book, and that was a great meal at Del Fresco's. They all involve steaks, really good steaks.
Okay.
Another client took me out after I launched her book, and it was like Australian Wagyu beef. I mean, we just got everything. When I took my clients out the night before the book launch event, that was a fun night. But they're all high-end, memorable. You said the best meal
or food experience,
the quality
either way,
of the
right?
meal. Also, family time with my nephew was graduating the Culinary Institute of America, and he's a professional chef now. The night before the graduation, I remember he was making ice cream tableside at the restaurant, and
And did he bring you your Cheetos? That's what the world's
not
wanting
that
to know
time.
now. Not that time.
Actually, I'm not really. Whatever, they're good. If you have them, I'll eat them. But it's been a while. And
That's a lot of good food.
family
I do have
meals.
I do have to ask, how do you like your steak done? I know everyone's gonna ask.
Medium to medium well.
All right, I
Depending
like
on
mine
where it's at
extra
in the
well,
day.
so I really get people upset. You're still in the good range. Uh,
Depending on where it is. So I'm thinking of high-end memorable meals, but
right.
I also want to throw in some of the times at the family picnic and on the boat, just with whatever's in a container cold.
Yeah.
And there's a lot.
Just that moment, right?
I like cooking and I like eating. I like cooking for others. I like eating with others. So, I mean, I'm Italian. Come on, it's
Right.
all gonna
Fair
work
enough.
itself
Fair
out.
enough. Hey, if you like cooking, I don't live too far away, man. I'm in. Where is your dream travel destination? Where is somewhere you haven't been that you say, I really want to go there?
You're asking me finite point questions. There's a list of them. There's
Yes, and I noticed that narrowing that down is not the easiest thing for you.
I've always wanted to go to Italy. I have never been, and that's sad. I'm also French. I'd like to go to Paris just because. Um, Water places, the Caribbean. I mentioned finding the dinosaur. That's in Africa. Also plan on buying a submarine and finding Atlantis. That's somewhere in the ocean. I can't give you the destination, but I really think where was the last place? Not Tasmania.
So you're looking
Oh,
for the dinosaurs at Atlantis. You've got
oh
a
no,
busy
the
trip ahead of
dinosaurs
you.
are in the Congo.
Okay.
Moloke Mamimimbi. If you Google that, they're still there. Atlantis, I believe, is Santorini, so Greece.
Okay.
and space. Space would be kind of killer too. And I'll
Well,
leave it there because
we can put in a
we
call
can
to
name
Elon and see if we can get
185
you up there,
countries.
right? What do you hope or believe will be the most exciting invention in the next 30 years?
First idea came to tech, but I would say it's going to go back to the people because there's so much tech out there now. There's only so much you can infuse it before you start. There's a lot of stuff done with AI. Wow, that's a good one. I want to say flying cars, but we already have those. Like maybe not with roadways and all that, and that's just going to turn into a mess once government gets involved anyway. There's already vehicles that fly in the sky, and yes, I did say that. Don't care, leave me alone. Um, I see a big trend, and if society doesn't do it and government, whatever, people are yearning for that connection, and in some ways, tech is bringing us closer, but also farther away. You can sit here and go, well, I can connect with anyone around the world, which is true. But how you do it, it's just a tool. Are you doing it to be abrupt and quick, or are you doing it to actually build that connection? And I'll use the live streaming as an example because there's people that are just, I mean, you want efficiencies, but when it comes to people, maybe have a little bit of buffer. Maybe they need that time. Maybe that will make the difference in their life. People are not robots, and the more we do with tech, I think people forget that. But at the core, because we're created in God's image, we can feel it. And that's why a lot of people leave their position or leave the company because they feel underappreciated and not noticed. It's not because they're not good at it. They just want that connection. That's why people go to concerts and, I was going to say, video games, football games and basketball games and sports games and wherever. They want that sense of community, and that won't change. I only see more of that. So if we're talking a finite thing like a flying car, I think that will happen. That's already started. But there's going to be a huge shift to bring people closer together without a doubt because people won't allow it to keep going the way it's been. And now life is just that much faster. Radio took, 50 years to hit market saturation? TV did it in 25. The internet did it in 5. Things are getting quicker. And people are also having shorter attention spans. And it's not a slight to them. They're having a short attention span for dealing with the BS. There's no way it's going to go another 50 or 100 years just the way it did before.
Creating connections and flying cars. I love it. Two good paths. As we wrap up, is there a certain thought or message that you'd like to leave with our audience, Mario?
Cherish the time and enjoy the journey. People are the only thing you can take with you. The rest's going to get left behind. If you
Powerful.
invest in time and people now, you can bring them with you. The rest isn't going to go anywhere. Be careful where you're investing your time, energy, and money.
How can our audience find you? What are you working on that they should know about? Where should they go? We'll certainly add it to the show notes as we wrap everything up. But where can they find you and what are you working on?
You've mentioned it a few times, and I'm going to keep it real point. And for anyone that wants to improve their marketing, don't give 18 call to actions. You can learn more at eainterviews.com.
I love it. Lots of good stuff there. Lots of great interviews to see. If you guys have not checked that out while you're listening to it, make sure you do that right away. Mario, thanks for joining me. It's been great to hear and learn more about your story.
The pleasure's been mine. Thank you for getting me talking about some of this stuff that even I forgot. So I've learned. Thank you for the reminder.
Beautiful. Thanks, man.
Oh, okay.
Now it's you. You're live, man.
Oh, then we end it with. Okay, now it's cool. All right, we're gonna. You know what? I'm gonna check comments real quick.
Sure. I'm in.
There's a lot of stuff. I don't want to ruin the recording. I'm going to kill the live feed. So with that, everyone, I hope you enjoyed this. Check out Dan. He's awesome. And Dan, where can they find your show?
They can find it on their favorite podcast platform. Dreams Are Real is the name of the podcast. And they can also find us in the Dreams Are Real Facebook group, should they so choose.
Excellent. God bless.